US President Trump claims back-channel talks with a senior Iranian official has yielded major points of agreement. Iran denies any contact, calling it a trick to cool the markets and buy time. Trump had given Iran a 48-hour ultimatum to reopen the Strait of Hormuz shipping lane, but hours before the deadline, Trump fired a Truth Social post extending it by 5 days and saying US and Iran have held very good and productive conversations in recent days.
We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them.
Iran was quick to deny Trump's claims. Sources cited in Iranian media said no direct or indirect talks were taking place. Trump blamed it on Iran's broken and battered communications.
Well, they're going to have to get themselves better public relations people. We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other.
Reports also said that US negotiators may meet an Iranian delegation for talks in Pakistan, with Vice President J.D. Vance possibly joining. White House spokeswoman Karoline Leavitt did not deny the reports. However, Iranian Foreign Ministry denied any negotiations. It said friendly countries recently sent messages to Iran indicating US desire to begin talks, but Iran has not responded. It also said Iran's stance on the Strait of Hormuz has not changed. Saeed Jalili, a member of Iran's Expediency Discernment Council and a former nuclear negotiator, claimed that Trump's comments represented a retreat. He said that Iran's power has brought the US to the table of realities. Another senior Iranian official to deny Trump's claims is the country's parliament speaker, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf. He said no negotiations have been held with the US, and he called Trump's assertions fake news meant to manipulate financial and oil markets. Interestingly, the US media outlet Axios had identified Ghalibaf as the official who was talking to Trump's envoy, citing an unnamed Israeli official. Another report says Ghalibaf is being seen as a potential partner and even a future leader. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he had spoken to Trump. He said Trump thinks a deal is possible, but vowed to continue striking Iran and Lebanon. Earlier, we were joined by Lynn O'Donnell from Sydney in Australia. She's a journalist and author. Listen in to what she had to say.
It's quite likely that Trump is talking to the markets, but it's also quite likely that there has been some communication with Iranian officials whom he hasn't named about reopening the Strait of Hormuz. So he did issue the 48-hour ultimatum over the reopening of the strait, which is tied clearly to oil flows. And as the deadline hit, he paused strikes and signalled talks, and oil prices immediately dropped by more than 10%, and prices of stocks on Wall Street went up. So that tells you that the real dynamic is that the deadline wasn't just military pressure, it was also market signalling. And there is a deeper problem here. The war has already damaged energy infrastructure, disrupted global oil supply, as we know, except to chosen and approved customers of Iran, China, India, Russia, meaning that prices are staying structurally high, and the International Energy Agency has warned of a major threat to the global economy. So the bottom line is that it looks less like a climb down and more like a tactical delay, as you said, 5 days market to market, to stabilise the markets and buy time while keeping the military leverage intact. They're not backing down on the threats. As Trump said, they're going to keep bombing their little hearts out if they don't get what they want, but we don't know what it is that they want, and we don't know where their message is hitting in Iran.